About this book, the three men are friends. George, Harris, and the narrator Jones are friends. They think they are seriously ill. George and Harris think they suffer from fits of giddiness. But the narrator is sure that he suffered from some liver disease. One day, he goes to the British Museum. There, he consults a medical dictionary and goes through the disease listed in it. He finds the symptoms of all disease in his body except those of arthritis. He goes to a doctor friend who examines him thoroughly. The doctor advises him nothing but to have good food, rest, and a brisk walk. The friends consult themselves and decide to go on a holiday. They discuss a sea trip, but the narrator opposes it. George then suggests going up the river on a boat. The only one who disagrees is Montmorency, their dog. They plan for a boat journey. The friends plan to start from Kingston on a Saturday. George says he would join them at Chertsey. In the afternoon, when his bank closes, they debate about the stay at night. George and the narrator are in favor of camping out at night. The narrator becomes poetic, imagining the scenery outside. Harris, however, interrupts him by asking, "How about when it's rain?" He says that in case it rains, they would have to eat wet food and they might become speechless owing to cold they might catch in the night. So, the idea of camping out is set aside in favor of staying in a hotel or pub. Even Montmorency liked the idea. The friends then think of the item they should take along. Harry says that he knows a place where they could get good Irish whiskey. The debate remains inconclusive because George says he feels thirsty. All the three put on their hats and leave the place. What's necessary for the trip? The next evening, the three friends meet to decide what things they should take along. Harris asks the narrator to prepare a list. Then he reminds the narrator to his uncle Podger. There was always a lot of uproar whenever Uncle Podger tried to do a job. Once he created a bigger nuisance while hanging a picture on the wall. He involved the entire family, but the picture he hung on the wall was not at all proper. Yet he was happy and satisfied. The first list of things prepared by the friends is too long. It is set aside. George wants to carry a board cover. Both he and the narrator like an early swim, which Harris does not like. George says two suits of flannel would be enough, as they could wash them in the river water. Messy preparation for the trip. The food items are decided by them. They decide not to take an oil stove. George suggests taking with them eggs, bacon, cold meat, tea, etc. But not cheese, which gives out a strong smell. The narrator recalls how the smell of the cheese he was carrying once in a cab made the horses run uncontrollably. The next day, the friends get all the things together and meet in the evening to pack them. When the narrator has packed all the things, Harris asks, "Are not you going to put the boots in?" The narrator has to unpack the bag again to put the boots in. George and Harris make many blunders as they begin to pack. They break a cup. They place light things at the bottom of the bag and the heavy ones on the top. Montmorency worsens the situation. The packing is completed at midnight. They go upstairs to sleep. George could not wake them up, at 6:30 in the morning as decided by them. The trip begins. The narrator is wake up by his housekeeper at 9 o'clock in the morning. He wakes Harris up. Both are angry with George, who is still sleeping. They force George to wake up. They collect their luggage at a cab and go to the Waterloo station. They come to Kingston, where their boat is waiting for them. With Harris at the sculls, the narrator at the tiller lines, and Montmorency in the prow of the boat, they start their trip, which lasts for a fortnight. Trip to the Hampton Court. When the boat comes to Kingston, it is a glorious morning. Kingston is a historical place. Many old houses seen there speak to those days when the nobles and the courtiers used to live there. The narrator is then reminded of a magnificent covered oak staircase in a house. The narrator feels that every person has what he does not want and other people have what he does want. He remembered about a boy who wanted to work hard at studies and win prize, but he could not because of his bad health. At this point, Harris throws away the oars, skulls. The narrator then takes charge and takes the boat to the walls of the Hampton Court. Harris then asks the narrator if he had ever seen the maze at the Hampton Court. The maze is a very complicated structure. Harris has a mashup. Harris wants to get out of Hampton Court and visit Mrs. Thomas' tomb. The narrator says he cannot as they have to reach Fairton by 5 o'clock to pick up George. Harris gets irritated. He says George should have taken the day off. Then he wants to have a drink. The pub is not near, so he tries to take a bottle from the hamper. In doing so, he pulls the wrong lines, which sends the boat into the bank. This upsets his balance and he has to stand on his head, holding on the sides of the boat. The narrator gets hold of his legs and holds him back. George joins them at Weybridge. Harris and Jim stop under the Williams by Campden Park and have their lunch. It is a beautiful spot. A man comes to blackmail them, but he retreats. Harris gets angry and then begins to sing a comic song of calm himself. Jim is reminded of an incident. A German singer sings a sad song which the audience think to be funny. The singer goes into a rage and says he has never been so insulted in all of his life. The boat reaches Sunbury Lock at 3:30. Then it comes to Walton. Walton was once visited by Caesar and later by Queen Elizabeth. At Weybridge, they see George's blazer on one of the lock gates. Montmorency gives a furious bark. The narrator shrieks and Harris roars. George waves his head and yells back. He has brought with him a banjo and he says he has got the instruction book and would learn to play it